Welcome to the Living in Augusta channel. I'm Geraldine DeLaurentis with the Front Gate Group, and today's video is going to be talking all about the pros and cons of living in Augusta, Georgia. Now, some of these may be a deal breaker and some may not, but we'll just start with the first pro. The first pro is we are not a big city like Atlanta. We are a fairly decent sized city. We fight to be the second largest city in the state of Georgia, so that's not too bad. But what that means is we have way less traffic than Atlanta. Now, there are some outlying parts of Augusta that can get kind of trafficky, but traffic is relative. I used to live in Bangkok, Thailand, and we could sit for an hour and a half just to get around the block. So Atlanta traffic really isn't as bad as some other areas. And I know some of you may be in, let's say, Maryland, and I've lived in Maryland as well, and the traffic up there was way more ridiculous than it is down here. So everything's relative. I have been in the Augusta area for more than 20 years, so I have gotten used to no traffic. And some of the outskirts of Augusta has been getting a little traffickier, and I get really frustrated when I have to sit for like 20 minutes on the highway to get off an exit. That really is a huge pet peeve of mine. So, but no traffic compared to other places in the world and other places like big cities, Atlanta. Some of the other things is we are big enough that we have an awesome local restaurant scene. We have some really good local restaurants that have some really super yummy food. And then we have some great local shops if you enjoy shopping. So we have our downtown area and then a little shopping area called Surrey Center that has some really neat little boutique shops in it. Local coffee shops for hanging out and drinking coffee. So that's pretty cool. And then the other thing is we do have a large job opportunity area because we are very diverse. We have Fort Eisenhower and a lot of people coming in for that. We have the Cyber Center that partners with local and also Fort Eisenhower. So those are job opportunities there. We have an Amazon plant, we have Plant Vogel, we have John Deere. So we have a huge medical community here. So there's different types of jobs that are available here locally, which is pretty awesome. What's going on? Welcome to the Living in Augusta channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about what it's like to eat, sleep, breathe, and everything in between about Augusta, Georgia. And if you're not new here, welcome back. My name is Geraldine DeLaurentis. I'm a local real estate agent in Augusta, Georgia. And look, we get so many reach outs from people moving to Augusta, Georgia, looking to relocate, and they are calling us, texting us, emailing us. We absolutely love it. So if you're considering a move, please feel free to reach out to us. Call me, text me, email me. You can skip all of that even and just go down to the calendar link in the description and schedule your appointment with us today. We've got your back when moving to Augusta, Georgia. Con number one of living in the Augusta area, the transportation, the public transportation system. We do have one. It's a public bus line. It only goes in the Augusta area. It does not extend out to the outside areas of Augusta. So that's kind of a bummer. But to me, that's a con. Like, I wish we had some better transportation that went outside of the Augusta area. I've personally never ridden on the bus. Not that I'm opposed to it, but I've never had a need because I have a car. So there you go. Pro number two, the annual Masters Golf Tournament. It brings a ton of people into our area, which is awesome because it really infuses our economy with a ton of money. And the other awesome part about it is the locals can rent their houses out for up to 2 weeks tax-free. And some of my friends, I've never rented my house just because it seems like a ton of work to do, and I just can't wrap my brain around trying to get my house to look that good and to get my kids out and to get my dogs out and all that good stuff. So, but some of my friends live in pretty nice neighborhoods that are really not far from the Augusta National, and they rent their house. They have a big house, lots of bedrooms, lots of bathrooms, and they rent their house for like 25 grand for 1 week. And then they take that money and they pay a chunk off their mortgage. They go on vacation. So it's pretty awesome. Of course, an average home, you know, that's like a 3 or 4, 2, you know, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, something like that. Depending on the location. If it's close to Masters, you're going to be able to rent it for more money. If it's further away, less money. But you're talking a couple $1,000s, which is still awesome. And, you know, totally worth it if you keep a really clean house and it doesn't stress you out to like get ready for that kind of thing. So anyway, that's a pretty neat thing about the Augusta, the Masters golf tournament here. It also, like hospitality wise, there are a ton of restaurants that get a good amount of business, and just all the fun activities that they have around the Masters golf tournament. And if you get a chance to go get a ticket and go in, it's a beautiful, beautiful course. And food and beer are very inexpensive compared to other golf tournaments. So that's kind of cool that they've kept the cost low on that. One really neat thing that I found out is their merchandise sales is pretty crazy. So last year they had over $70 million in sales of the merchandise that they put out. That's a pretty crazy number if you think about it. But people all over the world come in for the Masters golf tournament. So then it gets extra super trafficy. There's a ton of traffic down Washington Road, down Riverwatch Parkway, coming in from South Carolina on I-20. But usually that's, you know, morning and the evening when they're going into the golf tournament and when they're coming out of the golf tournament. All the restaurants jack up their prices, so everything is super expensive. So a lot of locals do leave town, whether they rent their houses or not, just because they don't want to deal with all of that. But some people love it. They get like part-time jobs just for that week or two, cleaning some of the houses that are rented. They make a good amount of money doing that. They work food and beverage just for that short period of time. They work hospitality houses. So there's a lot of opportunity even just during those 2 weeks. So pretty cool. Con number 2 about living in Augusta, Georgia. We do not have a pro sports team, and for some people that is a total deal breaker and stinks. However, we are only 2 hours from Atlanta, so if you really need to see a pro sports team, you can go take a look at the Braves in Atlanta, baseball. We also have the football team, the Falcons, and we have pro basketball, the Hawks. So you can always get tickets. My dad is a huge Braves fan, and periodically we'll go watch a Braves game in Atlanta, and sometimes they'll spend the night, sometimes they won't. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are also huge Atlanta Braves fans, and so they'll go watch baseball. They'll take my nieces and nephew with them and make a whole day out of it and spend the night and just have a really fun time over in Atlanta. Here locally, we do have the Augusta Green Jackets, although later in the video you'll hear one of the other cons. We did lose the baseball team here. They're not pro, but it was still fun to go watch them. They moved over to North Augusta, South Carolina, so it's still right across the river. I have season tickets, and so our friends and I get tickets that are right close to each other, and then we go and we'll have a beer, the kids go play, we semi-watch the baseball, but really we just chat and use it as an excuse to get together, and it's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend you check that out. You'll see some shots of the SRP Park where the Green Jackets play, and it's a really nice little area. They've got some little shops and little restaurants over there as well, so pretty cool. Even though it's not Augusta, it is North Augusta, right across the river. Pro number 3, they are revitalizing downtown, our downtown area. And they have been for the last 10 to 15 years. So we've got a ton of local restaurants downtown, a ton of little shops. We have some artistic places you can go in and get artwork, and some little galleries downtown, which is pretty neat. We have Riverwalk on the Savannah River, which really pretty view. You can go walk down and look at the river. They have benches set out. It's a really pretty little area to take a look at. Some of the other neat things is because it is still being revitalized, there are definitely some investment opportunities, especially in commercial property downtown. And hopefully we'll just continue to see the growth down there because it's pretty neat. We do have a big convention center down there with public parking. So we do have people hold conferences down there, and we do have people coming in from out of town to do conferences at the conference center that's part of the Marriott. So that's a neat little thing. Con number 3, pollen slash allergies. I never had allergies before I moved to Augusta, and then just in the spring and sometimes in the fall too, something is in the air. I don't know if it's the pine trees, I'm not sure what it is, but my eyes will get itchy and watery, and my nose, I'll be sneezy, and we'll get a little bit of eczema under my eyes. It'll be red and itchy, so that's not fun. My son has allergies because of it, so he, in the spring season, takes Claritin and that helps, but it really stinks. We call the pollen, in the springtime when the pollen starts just dumping out everywhere, you'll see it just covering everything. We call it yellow snow. It's pretty terrible, and you'll see a little clip from my car that was covered in pollen, and you know, it makes me not want to wash my car. It just makes me mad. I just spray it off because it'll be covered in pollen within 10 minutes of getting it sprayed off. So it's really annoying. If you don't have allergies, that's awesome for you, but if you move here, you are probably gonna have allergies after a little while. We're kind of like a bowl, and all the pollen comes out and then it dumps, and then the wind just blows it around and blows it around, so it just kind of stays for way longer than it should. So it's a real bummer. Pro number 4 is job opportunities. I know I spoke about it earlier when I was talking about Atlanta versus Augusta, but truly job opportunities are a huge bonus in this area because we are diverse and we do have a ton of different fields in our area. It's just, we have John Deere, I know I mentioned earlier, we have the medical field, medical community, several hospitals here in Augusta where you can get job opportunities, Doctors Hospital, University Hospital, there are several other ones as well, and there's a hospital at Fort Eisenhower also. We have the Savannah River site, we have Plant Vogel, we have the cyber center. We have a lot of cyber stuff going on in our area. I don't know if you can see this or not, but my little puppy dog just came to say hello. She was being rotten and chewing on the wood at the door frame, so I figured I'd pick her up and keep her from making noises while I'm trying to do this video. Anyway, so that's a pro. Lots of job opportunity. And hospitality is another one, job opportunity. I know I spoke about it during Masters Week, but also across the board, we have a ton of local restaurants and local shops as well. Con number 4, snakes. We have them in our area. We have rattlesnakes, we have copperheads, we have water moccasins, and we also have good snakes. We have king snakes and garter snakes. And my brother, my youngest brother, is deathly scared of snakes, and he was dog sitting for us at our old house that we used to live in a neighborhood called Tudor Branch. And we had a pond behind our house and some woods and stuff, and he is also a smoker. So he had gone out on our back porch to smoke a cigarette one evening, and this huge long black snake was sunbathing on the rail of our deck, and I thought he was gonna have a heart attack. He immediately texted me, and then he videoed the snake. He ran inside. I was like, oh, that's a good snake. That eats the bad snakes, so just don't mess with it. Well, a couple weeks later, our neighbors told us that that same black snake had curled up in one of the pots on their front porch and half scared her to death when she was out there going to do something with the pot. She saw the snake in the pot. So yes, we do have them. And in that neighborhood, we had run over a copperhead, and obviously in the pond, I'm pretty sure there were water moccasins. I just told my children that they needed, I mean, they were little when we first moved over there. My oldest, I think, was 6 months old, and we just, you know, and then my other little, you know, he grew up, they both grew up over there. They, I think, were 12. My oldest was 12 when we left that house, but I just always talked to them about, you know, being aware of what they were doing, because they would run the neighborhood. They loved playing out in the woods, and I would catch them wading in the pond, and I'm like, don't wade in the pond. But you know, they're boys and they like water and dirt and mud and getting dirty, and that's just what they did. But they never had a snake bite. I think they may have seen a snake once, but they knew not to go near it and not to approach it and just to come and get one of us, so it was always fine. So if you hate snakes, maybe this isn't the best area for you. But I do know there are snakes in other parts of the US, so it's not just us, but we do have them here in Augusta. Pro number 5. We are 3 hours from either beaches or mountains, which is pretty awesome. There are not that many places who have that kind of awesome location. So you can go up to South Carolina and hit beaches up there. There are Edisto Beach, Kiowa Island. You can go over to Savannah and go up into South Carolina there. There's Hilton Head. Savannah has Tybee Island. Then you can go down to Florida. Florida is a little bit more than 3 hours. You're talking 4 hours to get to Amelia Island, which is the first exit into Florida from Georgia, going down I-20 and wait, I-20, that's wrong. Ignore me. Directions are not my strength. I know I'm a realtor, but they're just not my strength. Anyway, whatever that road is that we take going down there, I can't think of it right now off the top of my head, so you'll know. Anyway, it takes about 4 hours to get down there, and have some awesome beaches in Florida, obviously, so that's pretty cool. And then mountain-wise, you can get to Helen, Georgia in about 3 hours. They have Oktoberfest there, and it's a cool little place to go visit in the mountains if you are a mountain kind of person. You can go a little bit further, probably like 4 hours going up into North Carolina, up into northern South Carolina, and you can hit Asheville, Brevard. There's some other cool areas that aren't too far, totally drivable, that is a huge bonus of living in Augusta. Con number 5 is alligators. Ugh. We do have alligators down here. Not like Florida, but still, I have personally seen alligators. Like my friend is a musician, and he will do live music on the down the Augusta Canal. They let you bring your own beer, whatever, and little snacks, and you can sit on the boat and ride down the Savannah River, or the Augusta Canal really. And we have absolutely seen alligators like over on the side when we were floating down the river. And then a friend of mine, she likes to kayak, and she was kayaking on the Savannah River, and she saw an alligator when she was in a kayak. So you will not catch me kayaking. That is definitely not my thing, and I definitely don't like alligators. It totally freaks me out, but I live here anyway. It's not like I have them climbing up to my door. You know, I've seen that on TikTok in Florida, so I'm not in Florida. I'm here in Georgia. Ugh, alligators. Pro number 6, we are only 2 hours from 2 international airports. The International Airport of Atlanta, which is a huge hub. So if you're doing international flights, that's a great place to go out of. We do have flights out of Augusta that connect through Atlanta. So if you don't want to drive 2 hours to Atlanta and park, you can fly from Augusta. Now, sometimes they will cancel the Augusta flights, and that really sucks because then you end up driving to Atlanta anyway. They do have transportation called Groom Transportation that you can book, and then they will drive you to Atlanta, so you don't have to leave your car there and park, and then it can be round trip. So that's a pretty neat thing to do. We're also about 2 hours from the Charlotte airport, so not too long of a drive there. It's actually a really pleasant drive. I prefer that to Atlanta. Atlanta traffic is just not my favorite to drive in. People drive a little bit crazy over there. But anyway, so you can get flights out of Charlotte. It's always good if you're doing an international flight, especially, to shop both of them to see which one is cheaper, and depending on which, you know, what time your flight leaves and all of that good stuff. So that's nice. We do, I know I said we have a regional airport down here in Augusta, and we do have Delta and American Airlines, and you can get several nonstop flights domestically. I think there's one up to New York, there's one to Chicago. I know there's one to Dallas because I've been on that one before. So they do have some pretty neat flights even just out of Augusta. So that's awesome. And I think that's it. Con number 6, flying cockroaches, aka palmetto bugs. And when I was telling my friend about flying cockroaches, she didn't believe me, but I can assure you that we have flying cockroaches down here, and I hate cockroaches. Like, snakes don't bother me. That is, I can see a snake and I'm cool, but if I see a cockroach, it's a huge problem for me. So I was showing a house one time, and I unlocked the door and the people were behind me, and I opened the door and a cockroach flew at my face, and I screamed and I ran, and then I had to like apologize and compose myself and like go back in the house and show it. So that was awesome. And then I will tell y'all a little story about when my youngest was, I don't know, maybe 5 years old, and then my oldest was like 7. And our house had a big, huge living room, and there was a dining room table at the end of it where the windows were. And one of them was like, "Oh, Mama, there's a cockroach underneath." So the dining room table had like these feet, and there was like a little bit of space that you could see through. And Patrick is my oldest son's name. Patrick was like, "Mama, there's a cockroach under the table, but I'm pretty sure it's dead." And I was was like, oh, okay, gross, because if it had been alive, I wouldn't have walked over there. So I went over there. I was holding my youngest, John Henry. I set him down on the dining room table, and I get down on my hands and knees, and I look, and that cockroach like runs at me. So I jump up screaming. I run all the way into the kitchen, and I stand in the kitchen doorway screaming, and I see the cockroach fly, and it flies up into the curtain. And then John Henry started crying because I left him on the table. And Patrick was like, Mama, it's fine, it's just a cockroach. So when I realized the cockroach was gonna stay in the curtain, I did carefully walk back and get John Henry off the table. Terrible mom, I know. And then I got like whatever scary spray stuff that you're only supposed to use outside, but I used it inside, and I sprayed the crap out of my curtain. And then I told my husband that I needed him to like clean it all when he got home from work, which is probably a total jerk thing to do, but I was scared. I don't like cockroaches, and it freaked me out. And the cockroach did die. It like finally fell and just like died on the floor, and that's my cockroach story. So if you don't like cockroaches, maybe this isn't the place for you, even though I've still stayed here, so whatever. Pro number 7, the Riverwalk in downtown Augusta. It's really nice. You can look across the river and see like all the houses in South Carolina that are on the river. And the Riverwalk itself is just really nice and wide. You can go just walk up and down, and they have got benches. You can sit and just enjoy the quiet and the peace. And you can see people running it. You can see people biking on it. You can see people just walking and enjoying it. So it's a neat little feature of downtown Augusta. Con number 7 is the brutal summers here in Augusta, Georgia. So not only is it really hot, like 90s to 100s, which doesn't seem like it would be that hot if you're out, from like out west or whatever, where it's a dry heat, but it's a humid heat, and you just start sweating, and it's gross. Like I'll be in my nice suit showing houses, and then I'll just have like sweat trickling down my back, and it's really disgusting and gross. And so if I'm out with you showing you houses and it's hot and it's in the summer and you see like sweat stains on my back, please just mind your business and don't judge me, because everyone's gonna be sweating because it's hot. Our hot summer lasts, I swear, it feels like 9 months, and maybe it's not that long, but absolutely it starts in May. Sometimes at the end of April, it already starts getting hot. And then I am pretty sure sometimes it's still hot at Halloween, although usually it's not still hot at Halloween, so October. And then we have like a short fall-ish, and then we have a short little spring. Sometimes it's longer than others. Our winter, I'm gonna use quotation marks, it can get coldish. Sometimes it'll get in the 30s, but that's very unusual. Usually it's like 40s, 50s. Sometimes it's 60s in the winter. Does that count as winter? Probably not. And it probably snows once every couple of years, and the snow is maybe an inch, and then like everything shuts down for a week is what it feels like. And I know that people make fun of us when everything shuts down when it barely snows, but I lived in Maryland, and the first year I lived in Maryland, we had like the worst winter storm of, I don't know, that they had in like a decade, and the snow was like almost up to my waist. It was pretty crazy. And they had like the salt machines and like the scrapers, and so the main roads were always cleared and you could do whatever, but we don't have that kind of equipment down here. So when it gets icy or snowy, which is rare, we don't have that kind of equipment to make the roads safe, and people are just not used to driving in that, so everyone gets a little bit crazy. But it is fun when it happens, because then you get to build a little miniature snowman and pretend like you did something. That's what my son did one year. I think he was 4 the last time that it snowed enough where you could kind of make a snowman, and so I've got a little picture of him with his little snowman where we put some sticks for arms, and I think I had a baby carrot for the nose, because it was, I don't know, maybe that high. It was really cute, and he had a lot of fun playing in it, and that's probably the last time it's not the last time it snowed, but seriously, my son is 14 now, and I can't remember the last time it snowed. So if you like a lot of snow, Augusta, Georgia is not the place for you, okay? Pro number 8, community events. We do have a lot of community events in Augusta. We have a Greek festival that happens every year. We have the annual beer fest at the James Brown Arena that happens every year. That's a lot of fun because there are a lot of microbreweries that come, and you get to try all kinds of different beers if you're into that kind of thing. It's a neat day that they have. We also have a St. Patrick's Day parade downtown. We have what's called Arts in the Heart, where local artists showcase their artwork, and that's a pretty fun day as well. And we just have a lot of community events events. We have a bunch of them downtown. It's a lot of fun. And oh, I know what I was going to talk about, farmers market. We have a farmers market downtown Augusta that's really cool. We have local vendors selling handmade things, soaps and lotions, and of course fruits and vegetables and things like that. So farmers market. Con number 8, mosquitoes. We have them and they're really annoying. When my husband goes hunting, like he has like a net thing or whatever, he says that he has to be super still when he's a deer hunter, and they like buzz right around his ear. He's like, and I can't like do anything because I can't make noise. And so that's really annoying. We highly encourage you to get a screened-in porch if you don't have one on your house down here. I don't have one currently. I used to have one and I really enjoyed it, especially if you had a ceiling fan going. We'd sit out with our friends and have the ceiling fan going. We'd have the screened-in porch so the mosquitoes weren't bothering us. And in the evenings when it was really pleasant out, it was just a lot of fun to hang out and enjoy the weather when the weather was nice enough to enjoy, when it wasn't 100 degrees and 100% humidity. But yeah, screen-in porch, because we do have mosquitoes. They will spray for mosquitoes, but we don't have our house sprayed for mosquitoes. It's just, I don't know, we just deal with it. That's what we do. Pro number 9, can't even do my fingers right. Historic homes here in Augusta are being redone. A lot of them are dilapidated and people are purchasing them and redoing them, and they're beautiful, and it's really cool to drive down a couple of the streets that have a bunch of the historic homes and just to see how beautiful they've been redone is really neat. And we have affordable housing in Augusta, Georgia. So for 2023, in the last year, 2022 to 2023, the average price of homes was $220,000, which is pretty affordable considering that there are homes that are lower and homes that are higher. So it's good stuff. Con number 9. Deer. So we do have deer here, and I know you're thinking like, why is that a con? Well, last week I was driving down Riverwatch Parkway going downtown, and as I was almost in downtown, I had 2 deer hop out onto Riverwatch Parkway that I almost hit, but thank goodness moved over a little, and then they saw me and they like turned and went back into the forest. But I could have hit a deer and that would have really sucked. So deer, that's a con of moving to Augusta. Finally, we have pro number 10. Pro number 10 is that the historic theaters downtown have been redone. There's 2 of them that have been redone that have events all the time, and it's pretty cool. So the Miller Theater downtown, and then also the Imperial Theater downtown. They have shows like, I've seen Dave Chappelle, which was awesome. I've seen Theo Vaughn, which is also hilarious. And they have a bunch of other, people and performers that come in, smaller venues, so they can't have like a huge ton of people. Although Blues Traveler did come too, and my friends talked me into going to Blues Traveler. I mean, I don't mind Blues Traveler, but when they play, it took them like 30 minutes to play the hook because they were doing an instrumental that just took forever. I don't ever want to hear that song again. It made me really mad. And so now I change the channel every time I hear it come on the radio. I'm like, no, Blues Traveler. I'm sorry if you're a Blues Travelers fan, but that did me in. And we do also have the James Brown Arena that has like Disney on Ice comes there. They have some other big, I can't think of them right now, but you can go on the website and look at all the different performers that they have coming. We also have the Bell Auditorium. I know that Disney on Ice, I believe, goes there. Did I just say Disney on Ice? I think I meant Travis Tritt. And there was another bigger performer that's, REO Speedwagon. Y'all don't get mad at me that I couldn't remember who. I have not the best memory, so if you all haven't been able to tell from this video, trying to remember all the things, just anyway. So yes, REO Speedwagon I think is coming in June. Travis Tritt is coming in June. And I may have the Bell and James Brown mixed up because they both have a lot of different performers that come in. So it's a pretty cool place to go. Con number 10 is Augusta politics. They can't agree on anything, so it takes forever to get something done. Hence the reason it's taken 15 years to work on the revitalization of downtown Augusta. And instead of doing what's best for the community, they argue amongst themselves and nothing ever gets done, which is very frustrating. As you can see, there are a lot of pros and cons to living in Augusta. I've lived here since 1999, so I know all about the area. And if you're considering moving here, I would love to help you. Just reach out to me, call me, text me, email me, or skip all of that and go straight to the calendar link and schedule a call with me so that I can help you figure out if this is the right move for you.